Hello guys and gals, me Mudahar, and welcome to Staying Safe on the Deep Web number 2. Now, for those of you who are fans of the Deep Web series, basically I made a video a long time ago telling people how to install Tails OS and use it, and ever since then, for the longest time I believe, that whole guide was changed because Tails had fundamentally changed something on their end, which made that guide ultimately pointless. And a lot of people came around messaging me, sorry that was my computer over here, excuse me for that, my second computer, but a lot of people came around messaging me because the guide wasn't, functional anymore because things were changed. And so I decided, why not look at Cubes OS? We uncovered this in a few Deep Web episodes before. Basically, it's a new OS that I came around, and it's a lot more secure than Tails essentially would be, but of course there's give and take. And we'll go over what Cubes OS is, but essentially this is the new guide. I know a lot of people who, like the Deep Web series wanted a fucking, newer guide, and here it is. It's going to be a long video. It's going to be pretty technical, but as long as you pause and follow along and do it step by step, I promise, actually I can't promise, but I have a very good hope that we will end up getting Cubes OS ready with Tor, and so you can browse the deep web and stay safe. So first off, this is the actual website for Cubes OS, a reasonably secure operating system. Now, of course, we've seen this website before, but this is the clear web version of it. I will leave the link to this in the description below. It's www.cubes-os.org. Cubes is in Q-U-B-E-S, not C-U-B-E-S, obviously. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to download and install. Now, download and install gives us Cubes Release 3.1, which is the latest stable release. That is what you want. Now, I'm going to go through this very quickly, okay? Very, very quickly. What you want to do is you want to go download the ISO file. The ISO file is 5 gigabytes in total size, so depending on your network, it may take long, it may not take too long. And when you go down over here, all right, you want to immediately hit that, and it's going to lead you to the x86-64 ISO. This is the ISO that contains both x86 versions and the 64-bit version, which is 32 or 64-bit. If you have a modern-day computer, 64-bit will be fine, but that is essentially the file you want. It's all packaged, it's all there. You can download it via BitTorrent if you want to. It's up to you, whatever you want. I typically go with HTTPS if it's available. It's a direct download. After that, you want to get a verification signature, which you can either get hashes, signature, or get the signing key itself. I typically would just get the hashes or signature, but I'm not going to do that right now because I'm just going to, I need, I'm basically making a video over here, so I'm not going to go through the whole checking things, but it's pretty easy to check. You can click on the link, learn to verify signatures. It'll guide you through the whole process. You can do that if you want, but I highly advise that you do it. After this, it's going to take you to a nice install setup screen where basically you can burn this to either a flash drive preferably, I would say 8 gigs in size, something like, this 8 gigs in size, or what I'm going to go with here is burning stuff onto a DVD primarily. It's a pretty fucking scratchy DVD, by the way. But essentially, if you go over here, it's going to tell you how to download the ISO. Pretty simple. And they're going to use a program called Rufus. I will also leave that in the description below. Basically, all you need to do in this program is fire it up, locate your downloaded ISO image, plug in a USB, and essentially it'll handle all the work for you. Burning it to a DVD is interesting. On the other hand, I would recommend a program called Image Burn. Image Burn, essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to write the image to disk, you're going to click this icon, you're going to find your ISO, you're going to put in a DVD, and you're going to burn it, okay? So essentially, at this point, when you burn it, you have the thing on either a bootable DVD or you have it on a USB. It's pretty simple steps, but that's essentially step number 1 handled on how to get Tails, how to burn it, and now we're actually going to go around and boot to it. Alright, so now that we're at step number 2, you've downloaded Cubes, you've went through their guides, and you've basically burned it to a DVD or a USB, whichever one is your choice. You're essentially going to fire it up on a new computer. Now, this guide assumes that this is a computer they're using just for Cubes, because we're going to completely eliminate everything on its hard drive and we're going to install Cubes itself. I'm not going to teach you how to dual boot or partition your hard drive because that's going to add a little more necessary steps, and honestly, we're going to keep the system pretty isolated because we are, browsing the dank web. So, aside from this, once you have your Cubes, you have everything set over here. I'm going to use a virtual machine, by the way. Disclaimer, don't use a virtual machine. I'm only doing it to make the recording easier. But this computer that I have, this computer, virtual of course, just for recording purposes, again, install it on an actual system. You have to install this one. I don't think there's a live USB version. We'll find out. But you have to install it onto a system. Don't go through the VM route just because you're essentially, shooting yourself in the foot if you go through the VM. There's no point in installing this in a virtual machine. You might as well you use Tails or something, or run that through it, or whatever. But essentially, what's going on here is we're going to start it up, and basically, in any computer, what you're going to do, here we have the Cube's screen, but basically, in any computer, when you're starting it up, you're going to see, for example, oh wait, here we go, remind me later on that. But when you have a computer, okay, when you're starting it up, you're going to notice that, say it's branded, like from Dell or Asus, you're going to see the Asus screen first, right? Or whatever your motherboard manufacturer is. That is something that we would call the BIOS, splash screen, right? So basic input output system, all right, if I can speak properly. What you're going to do at that point is you're going to spam your delete key, F12 to F9 key. Sometimes it's very different for certain BIOSes, so you might have to play around with your keyboard when you're firing up your computer. And that will take you to either a BIOS menu or a quick boot menu. So if you see a quick boot menu, I'll put a little screenshot of it up on the screen right now. And basically with this screen, let me just close the window, there's a lot of noise being made outside. When you get to this menu, make sure you have your DVD inside or your USB. USBs have to be there before, just so it refreshes and finds it before it gives you a boot screen. And you have to click on that to boot from it, right? Basically, because you're booting into a new OS. You're not going through this on Windows or OS X or Linux. So once you've gotten through this, you should see this menu. It's giving us install cubes or troubleshooting. We're going to hit install cubes, and it's going to go through all this lovely stuff here. So we're seeing a lovely little, fucking line. Here we go, ACPI memory. This is probably only because I have the VM running, so it might be shitting itself a little bit, but this isn't a major issue. So basically, give it time to start up, and you should see a cubes menu screen, okay? You should be at this menu now. And it's going to basically check your flash disk at this point. It's going to check it for you. It's going to check if everything works fine. I would let it go because it's already at 20%, so, it's not like you're wasting hours of your fucking time doing this. And that's all I can really say. Sorry for the sound outside. There's some weird screaming going on. It's like they're practicing a voodoo ritual now. But basically at this point, let it check through, and we're going to install cubes. And basically I'm going through this for a first time as well, so this is basically a big giant Cubes OS adventure that we're having. A little departure from the gaming videos, I know, but so people do want this stuff too, so sometimes you're going to get this kind of video, and people do find it interesting, so I'm glad some people here find it interesting. Thank you very much. But here we go, we're at the Cubes R3.1. So now we can pick our languages, okay? There's plenty of languages you can pick, all right? But we're going to go with English, and I'm going to go with the United States English. There's many different types of English. You can have Botswana English, you can have Nigerian English, you can have United States English. We're going to hit US and continue. Now it's going to go through all of this lovely shit, and it's going to give us date time, so it's America's New York time zone. Change it if you feel like it. Keyboard is in English US, language support. It's going to say installation source is local media, and software selection, leave it where it is. Basically, it's going to install two graphical displays, KDE and XFCE, two graphical environments, GUI environments necessarily. And you're going to leave it Debian 8 and Wonix. These are two selected environments they're installing with it, so just leave that where it is. All right, at this point, it's giving me an error over here, so let's go over here. It's telling me this is 30-something gigs, so we're going to hit okay, we're gonna hit the hard drive that we have. Of course, I made a 30 gig virtual drive. This will be whatever your hard drive is. You're gonna click on that, and we're gonna hit done. Okay, why are we not doing this, Cubes? Why are you hanging me dry, buddy? We're gonna go down. Full disk summary. Yes, obviously we're gonna use that. Hit close. Hit done. Okay. You have 30 gigs of free space. Okay, so we have to click on that and we get to this menu, which is enough to install Cubes. What would you like to do? Automatically configure my Cubes installation to the disks. I want to review. Yeah, just let it go automatically, okay? It's going to ask you partitioning scheme. Leave it at LVM. Encrypt my data. That I would actually advise you to do, okay? Because you want to be as secure as possible, so leave it encrypted. Hit continue, and it's going to give you a passphrase, not praise. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 is what I'll, oh, it says I can't leave it 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is just for educating you guys. That's it. Save the passphrase. And now that everything has been checked out, we're going to hit begin installation. So here we are back with the video, and ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, it takes a good long time to install. It was about 20 minutes for that bar going across the screen, but we're finally here. We rebooted, and it says, do you want to start cubes with Zen Hypervisor or advanced options? We're just going to hit the default and hit enter, and it's going to go through all of this lovely stuff. And with that being said, one of the things that I do want to open, oh, disk password actually, this is the encryption password that we once set. Ooh, what the fuck? Okay, I think I might have broke something. Now it's blinking really fast. What in the flying fuck is going on? Oh, okay, there we go. That was weird. Let me actually backspace all of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and hit enter. Alright, it's going to go through the unencryption over there. It's going to basically check the password, and it's going to be sort of done with that stuff. And here we go. Now we're actually starting it up. Okay, so one of the things that I have opened up here is the installation guide. Well, not the installation guide, but I have the, if I can just find it real quick, I know I have it somewhere here. Yes, the Cube's TOR VM guide. I'll also leave the link to this in the description below. It'll actually give you exact steps on how to install it. But again, I'm going to guide you through it all. Basically, now it's going to take me into the first setup screen, I assume. Let's hit forward, license information, forward, and it's going to ask us for a username. We'll do this test SOG, and password is 123 123. Just your standard little password to access, okay? Date and time. Hit forward, and it should say create default system cubes, create default, create Wonix gateway, create USB cube holding all USB controllers. Just hit finish on this, let it do what it needs to do, and it's going to configure the template VMs and do all of this stuff. So now that all of your cubes has been installed, you've gotten through the first time setup, you should be given this screen once it reboots and you've signed on and everything, okay? We're at the Cubes VM Manager. This is one of the things that'll instantly pop up. Now this is basically your overall window that shows you how many virtual machines you have open, what the virtual machines are routing to, and all that kind of stuff. So how do we set up TOR? Now, genuinely browsing around it, I've basically had 30 minutes off camera to sort of get myself acquainted with cubes. It's actually pretty simple, but at the same time, it's got its own quirks to it. Where I found out about, how should I say, the TOR relay, actually. Totally screwing that up. Open up the cubes button on the bottom. Now you're going to go to this thing called Service VM Sys Wonix. Now inside here, you're going to notice that it has a system, basically has reload TOR, restart TOR, stop TOR. So all the way at the bottom, you're going to notice Sys Wonix setup. Now, of course, you might notice that I'm in this box resolution. That's, of course, because of VMware. If you're running this off of on your actual computer, it'll adjust to the display resolution you'll have set on your main computer. So we're going to click on this bottom thing, which is Wonix Setup Wizard. Now it's going to bring up this lovely little screen over here. It says, before we let TOR connect, because in this the TOR relay is built in, it seems. You don't need to go through this whole TOR VM setup on this side, even though you could, and I'll leave the link to it over here. I'll go through this itself. So we need to know about your internet connection. I am ready to enable TOR. This is generally the route you're going to take, unless you live in a place where you need to use a proxy before you connect to TOR, where the internet has massive censorships. You might have to go through here, but genuinely for most people, you're going to have to go through the I am ready to enable TOR. So hit next on that, and it's going to say TOR networking is enabled. Now, as TOR networking is enabled, we're going to go next, and we're going to hit finish. Now, as far as we know, we are on the TOR relay, it seems. It's getting a little spike in CPU usage, which means there's some work going on. Over here, it's checking TOR's bootstrap status. So it's going to go through a little bit of a setup over here. It's not totally done, so you're going to let it continue on. But if everything works, we're on this browser over here, which is the Wonix TOR Browser. It's giving us a TOR Browser page. And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the status of the TOR page as well, too. So check, let me see, check TOR status. I'm just gonna get the page real quick. Now, if you want to find out you're actually on the TOR relay, there is a link that you can also access called check.tor project, hold on, .org. And if everything goes into account, if everything works, if I didn't screw up royally, it should connect us to the TOR relay, and it should tell us that we're actually on the relay itself. Yes, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have officially installed cubes. Actually, to be honest, that was easier than Tails, let's be fair here. So you've installed cubes, and now you're officially on TOR, which means you can use this browser to get to TOR. But there is a way you can install the actual TOR browser package for the full security, which we might as well. So now I know we started up TOR using the built-in stuff into Cubes itself, but what if you want to use the browser package itself? Well, I'm going to go through my way of doing it. It's probably not the best, so I would stick with the first method I showed you, basically installing it all the way up to actually firing it up using the Wonix tools themselves. But let's go this route. So first things first is you want to make sure you have your Cubes VM Manager up. This is the DOM0 window. Click this button at the end. It says Show Hide Inactive VMs. When you do this, you'll see a bunch of these other virtual machines. Don't worry about those. Go to the plus button here, create a new virtual machine. Let's call this one TOR. Remember, this is just my way. I'm going my own route doing this. Is probably not the best way ever. This is also my first time dealing with cubes as well. So just go with the first route, my recommendation. But for anybody who wants to question, can I use the actual TOR browser package, we'll go this route as well too. So make sure it's at Fedora 23, that's all fine, keep it at the default. Make sure it's app VM and allow the networking to go through sys firewall. Now at that point, you can make it whatever color you want. I don't know, let's make it black. And hit OK. And it's basically going to create a new app VM, which is TOR. Now at this point, you'll notice that TOR has been created. So what do you do with TOR now? You're going to go to the Cubes button, and you're going to go to Recently Installed. And you're going to notice all of these things. Oh, sorry. In Recently Installed, you're going to notice that TOR has a whole bunch of things. It's got terminals, it's got files, it's got, well, other types of files for some reason. Okay. Well, we're just going to click on Files for the top one. Okay, wait, no. It doesn't seem like we can. Oh, it's another one that I made. Hold on, let me kill that VM as well, and let me remove that. Sorry for that. That was my mistake. All right, let's kill that as well. So let's say we only have one TOR over here, right? This is what we're going to be using to browse the deep web through our installed browser package. We're going to go to Recently Installed. You're going to notice TOR has a lot of things: files, Firefox, terminal. Hit up Firefox, and it's going to start the TOR VM first, and it's going to start up Firefox within it. So basically, this is another virtual machine that we've created just specifically for the TOR browser itself. What I also want you to do is go in here, and we'll go one step at a time. How about that? So with this, in the menu, we're going to go to the TOR... Oh, what's that? TOR Browser. Now when you type in TOR Browser, it's going to take us to the actual TOR page itself. Click on that, and let's download TOR Browser. So download it. All right, I don't need reader view. Thank you very much. I'm going to download the English version of it. You can download whatever language you want. Hit the 64-bit version. We're using 64-bit, we might as well stick with 64-bit. If it gives us an error, we can go all the way down to 32-bit, one or the other. So hit Save File and hit OK, and it's basically going to save this file out to your system. That was pretty fast. Close that. All right, we're gonna... Oh, that's weird. I don't think it wants to close, to be honest. But let's close that real quick. Close the browser now once it's downloaded. And you want to go to the Cubes button, go to Recently Installed, and go to TOR Files. Now in the files, you're going to go to Download. And now here's how Cubes works. All these files are separated by VM. So if you download something in the TOR files, in the TOR browser, it's not going to show up in the, personal web browser, personal files. Case in point, if we open this one up, we go to Downloads, that's empty. But this download has our TOR browser. Case in point, everything's separated. So hit that up, and it's going to read the package first off, and extract that to your files like this. And once it's extracted, let's let it just deal with all this stuff first. Once it's extracted, go over here, hit TOR Browser Setup, and it's going to launch up the TOR Browser Setup as far as I know. Hit the first one, which is make a direct connection to the TOR network. Just click that. It's going to connect to TOR. It's going to go through all of the lovely stuff here. Genuinely what it would do if it's starting up TOR in the first place. And it's going to fire up TOR. Now at this point, we are on the TOR browser relay. So if we go on this way, and we actually do the check torproject.org, which will tell us if we're on the TOR relay, we should, in theory, be connected. So by hitting enter, ladies and gentlemen, we are using the official original browser, and we are also on Tor this way. So ultimately, those are two routes you can take in Qubes OS to access the Tor gateway. Both of them are incredibly easy. All you have to do is pause the video, follow it step by step, and you should be on Tor regardless which way you follow. I know I'm not the best teacher when it comes to this stuff, but I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. I've messed around with Qubes a little bit. It's not my primary OS, but I got a little feel for it, and it's a little different to pick up. Let me tell you, it's not like your standard Linux distribution, but giving it some time and effort, it's definitely a very security optimized OS. I kind of think that not many people watching the video are going to be using Qubes in the first place, but it's a fun little project, fun little video. It's an interesting video, I guess, because, hey, I guess we all learned something at the end of the day, and if you want to be really safe on the deep web, I don't think you can get much safer than this. The only way you can get more safer, again, the ultimate safety comes from how you act. Make sure you're not using the same screen names, don't give the same mannerisms, and be a different person on the deep web, okay? If you want to be anonymous, then act anonymous, don't act yourself and give your information away like that. But ultimately, that was Qubes OS. I know I sort of jumped a whole lot. This video is long. It's about 2 hours, including all the installation stuff, so I'm going to have a hell of a time cutting stuff out, but that was essentially Qubes OS, staying safe on the deep web, number 2. A lot of people wanted this video because the first one immediately became outdated weeks after I posted that, because apparently Tails changed, but Qubes will generally stay the same throughout and throughout. And you know what? This was actually far easier than I anticipated. I thought I'd have to go into like some command shell stuff to teach you guys, but everything is built in, everything is available. You can go through the Wonix route, or you can actually create a new VM yourself like we did and install Tor and go through it that way. That's it. That's all I can really say. I'm going to have to end the video. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Mudahar. I hope you learned something. I hope this answers some questions. Let me know what you think. I am out.